Hey guys, this is Comic Inno, and today I'm doing the top 5 free comic book day books from 2019, and honestly, I pretty much got all the books I wanted, so this is a pretty accurate top 5. I read all the books that I got that I wanted to review for this show, and the only one that I didn't have at my comic book store, or they didn't have at my comic book store, was Hope from Source Point Press, or at least I didn't see it. I got to my store about an hour and a half after it opens, and maybe they ran out, or they just, they didn't order that much, or they didn't have it at all. But honestly, everything else I got, and again, very accurate top 5. So, of course, out of the books I like and I wanted to get. So, number 5 for me is Bloodshot, and this is Valiant's free comic book day book. And I really enjoyed Jeff Lemire's Bloodshot series because it had to do with family, and I think there was a really good balance between character work and action. And here with this Bloodshot series and even the previous Bloodshot series, it's very much more driven in the military and action aspect of Bloodshot's character. But I will say I love the action and the artwork. Really enjoyed the coloring, especially for this book. But it really didn't tempt me to say, hey, I need to really get this next issue, or really the first issue. But I like the cliffhanger with the military, where it looks like there might be other Bloodshot soldiers, and they look like kids, I guess. So that could be potentially interesting. So if anything latched me into the title, that definitely was it. And again, the artwork. But why this is lower is because of the Fallen World story. I was not invested in this at all. Didn't know anything about it. So wasn't really invested in that one. But once again, artwork really solid for this book. So overall, I'm going to give this one 2.5 stars. Also, we get a little promotion of Exo Man of War as well in the back here. So, yes, 2.5. That is number 5 for me. Moving on to number 4, and that is Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Firefly. And this is all the Whedonverse titles here from Boom Studios. And the reason this is lower is that I'm not a huge Firefly fan. I mean, I've seen the whole show, but it's been a very long time, and I don't read the comics. So the first story was like, I don't really know what's going on here. So it's very much for the Firefly fans. But the middle story was amazing. I loved it. It was the same creative team for the regular Buffy title. We get to see Angel in there. We have Anya with a bunny, and if you watch Buffy, you know what that means. So that was cool, from a cool, I guess, callback to the musical episode. And it was cool to see the magic shop again, because obviously this wasn't something introduced in the high school season. So I enjoyed that we got to see kind of more of a season 4 set in the beginning years of Buffy. And obviously Dan Moore's artwork is always wonderful and great. I think actually Angel has a different hairstyle as well. Yeah, I guess, no, it's probably, I would say it's a more modern take on Angel's hair, but still a similar hairstyle. Anyways, I really enjoyed that story. But then after that, we just get a preview of previous Buffy issues. If you've been reading Buffy, it doesn't do much. But I think that's a great way to get people who are not reading the comics but love the show to jump into this. But then you have that Firefly story, which, I feel like is more driven to the comics and hardcore Firefly fans. So I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. So 3 stars for me, and that is number 4. All right, moving on to number 3, and that is Avengers issue free comic book day. And this has Savage Avengers and the regular Avengers here. And I enjoy the Savage Avengers the most. I don't know why I can't say Savage Avengers all in one sentence. There we go. But yeah, I enjoyed that the most. We finally get to see Elektra, who I was waiting for in that first issue. And I'm like, maybe I'll check out that next issue, because I do want to see what's going on with Elektra. And she had a really epic moment in the end, so I enjoyed that. And it was cool to see what Wolverine was up to, while we really got to see more of Conan in that beginning of that issue of issue 1. So I enjoyed that, and obviously the artwork is the same, and the same creative team, so that's nice. And moving on to the Avengers, which is why I guess is a little lower. I'm not reading Avengers. I'm not really caring of what's going on in that story, and this is very much leading into events of what's going on in Avengers. It doesn't really sell you on, hey, have you ever picked up Avengers? You might want to now. Wasn't hugely new reader friendly, but I liked the art change a bit, especially for She-Hulk. She definitely still looks bigger than she usually does, but she doesn't have the full-on Hulk mode, so I like this design a lot more. And the artwork in general is really clean. And then you have this cliffhanger. Even if you read Avengers issue 1, you know that Odin's been doing stuff, and yeah, they've been building up for that for a really long time. So we'll see where that goes. I'm not really invested in that story, though. But overall, I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. I thought it was better than I expected personally as someone who wasn't really invested in Savage Avengers and haven't really been reading Avengers. So, not a bad issue. I gave that 3.5 stars. Moving on to number 2, this was a surprise one for me. Animosity, Tales, issue 1. A really coherent first issue, and that's exactly what I personally think a Free Comic Book Day should be. Either really invested to the fans where, hey, here's an event coming up, or it should just be, hey, if you're a new reader, go pick this up. And I've read a bit of Animosity. I read a couple of issues. I have the first trade of the book, so I know the premise of it. So I think you should know the premise before you go into it. But I believe this is a new character, Meredith, and she's like a biologist, and this fish loves her and wants to marry her, and that's like, was so ridiculously awesome. So that's part of the story, but it's also just the apocalypse happening, and what does this character do while all these animals, you know, are dealing with the events of Animosity. So I thought it was pretty cool. The artwork is really solid here, especially for a Free Comic Book Day book. There's a lot of detail, and I enjoyed Meredith's character. I believe she's a new character. I tried looking her up, and I didn't see her anywhere else. And I'm like, hey, it'd be cool to see more of her. See if she ends up with that fish. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool issue. So I'm gonna give this 3.5 stars, and that is number 2. Number 1, thank God, it's the one that I was most anticipated for, and that is Spider-Man. I thought this was a really solid issue. Now, I personally have not been reading Venom, but I know what's been going on in the title, and man, this was a pretty good lead up to the event where we get to see kind of this Carnage Venom character within Eddie. So that was really cool, leading into this Absolute Carnage story, which I've been kind of overloaded with the Venom events and Carnage events, but this one looks cool and looks different from Venomized or whatever all those events were called. So it's kind of cool that they're mixing Carnage and Venom and really making the spider heroes affected by it. And I believe the preview in the end has to do with some Venom stuff, because we do see that Eddie Carnage character and Spider-Gwen, which is cool. I really like that preview a lot, actually. I'm super excited for that. And the next story, honestly, it was just a fun Miles and Peter story where they just talk about their favorite pizza, and so does Shocker. And I like that because it does bring the friendly neighborhood aspect, which Todd Taylor did help write this story. And also the writer for Miles wrote this story as well. They co-wrote it. And it's just about how pizza could be a reminder of home, and I think food in general is a reminder of home. So I thought it was a really touching story. And it's nice when we could just see Miles and Peter interact without fighting with each other, because they tend to get into battles when they do interact. So it's nice just for them to be bros and hang out and have pizza. So I enjoyed it, and overall this was my favorite Free Comic Book Day book and the one I was most anticipated for, and really excited for obviously what's to come for Spider-Man. I've been really enjoying what Nick Spencer's been doing, and obviously a lot of people have been enjoying Venom with Donny Cates, and I'm excited to see how that could kind of mix together with this upcoming event. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what were your favorite Free Comic Book Day books, and that was my top 5. Definitely go check out my Facebook page and Twitter, my comic books like Father Like Daughter and They Call Her a Dancer, and go check out Frontline Live every Tuesday, which we talk about our favorite comics and comic book news. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and again, let me know in the comments below what were your favorite comics. Bye guys!